Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a pretty wild idea, that the EU's big new AI Act isn't just a little flawed, but that it's actually impossible to follow. And the reason why? Well, it comes down to the fundamental laws of physics.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a question. What if the single most important piece of AI regulation on the planet, the EU AI Act, was built on a foundation that makes actually complying with it mathematically impossible? And this is the bombshell claim at the very center of all of this. It's a deliberately provocative statement. This isn't just some nitpick. It's a claim that the entire foundation of watching over AI with more software is basically built on sand. So, what's the deal here? Where does this impossible claim actually come from? Well, it boils down to this fundamental clash between what the law is asking for and what the laws of computation will actually let us do. The core problem really comes down to this idea of a shared substrate. Just think about it this way. You have an AI system, and you have the software that's supposed to be its watchdog, right? But they're both running on the exact same computer. If that computer gets a virus or has some kind of glitch, well, suddenly both the AI and its watchdog are compromised, and you just can't trust a corrupted watchdog to tell you the truth, can you?
So, this whole argument really stands on two legs. First, the legal pillar. The law says an overseer has to correctly interpret what the AI is doing. But how's it supposed to do that if its whole view of reality could be corrupted? And second, the physicist pillar. This goes all the way back to Alan Turing. And to put it simply, a computer program just can't analyze another program and be 100% sure it won't crash or get stuck in a loop. It's just a fundamental limit of how computers work. A system can't fully check up on itself.
Okay, so if software is the problem, what's the solution? This is where things get really interesting. The argument is that we have to step away from software completely and look at the actual physical machine. The solution they came up with is based on this principle. State equals position equals history. It sounds complicated, but here's the gist of it. Imagine you assign a specific piece of the AI's data to a specific physical spot on a computer chip. If that data ever moves from where it's supposed to be, a physical switch gets flipped. It's not some software error message that can be faked. It's a real hardware-level alarm. You literally can't bypass it.
You know, a really good way to think about this is like that little snapshot device from Progressive Insurance that you plug into your car. It doesn't ask your car's computer if you're a good driver. No way. It's a completely separate piece of hardware that measures your acceleration and braking all by itself. It's a physical, trustworthy observer.
And that really gets to the core of what this solution is all about. This hardware verifier, it's like a thermometer. It doesn't have an opinion, right? It doesn't care if the AI's actions are good or bad. It just reports the cold, hard physical facts. Is the AI operating where it's supposed to be, or isn't it? That's it. Now, as you can probably guess, throwing an idea this radical out into the world, well, it was met with some serious pushback. The experts from both law and tech were not having it. First, you had the lawyers. They basically said, whoa, you're completely misreading the law here. Their argument was that Article 14 is just about having a human in the loop. You know, human oversight, not some super complex, independent hardware audit. They pointed out, pretty reasonably, that the regulation doesn't even use the word hardware. And then, of course, you had the tech architects chime in. Their response was, essentially, we don't need to mess with the hardware at all. We can fix this with more software. The idea was to build this sophisticated governance layer that runs alongside the AI and keeps it in line. You know, the classic, we can just code our way out of this mindset. So you've got these sharp attacks coming from the legal side and the technical side. It really feels like this whole impossible in software argument should just fall apart, right? I mean, these are the experts we're talking about. But, and this is where the story gets really clever, what if getting attacked wasn't a failure of the argument? What if getting attacked was the whole point? This brings us to a really fascinating communication strategy called the Holden Paradox. It's designed for a very specific situation, when you have an idea that's correct, but it's totally counterintuitive, and you don't have the fancy credentials to get the experts to even listen to you. See, if you approach them humbly, you just get ignored. So instead, you do the opposite. You make a super bold, confident claim that basically forces them to attack you.
And the strategy plays out in 3 steps. First, you provoke. You make this sharp, uncompromising claim that experts just can't ignore. Second, you survive. You let them throw all their best arguments at you, and you show, one by one, how each objection just dissolves when it hits your core logic. And finally, you update. The people who are just watching this all go down, they see your claims survive these credible attacks, and they start to think, maybe there's actually something to this.
And this quote right here just lays it all out. The argument was intentionally designed to be quicksand. Every time an expert, whether it was a lawyer or a tech architect, tried to attack it, they got pulled right back down to those fundamental problems. The shared failures, Turing's limits, and their objections just fell apart.
Right, so you have to understand, this whole thing, it was never just about winning some niche debate over a single EU regulation. This entire campaign was pointing towards a much, much bigger, world-changing endgame.
The argument zooms way out from just compliance to something way more ambitious, literally rebuilding digital trust from the hardware up. The core idea is that our current approach, which is all based on software, is fundamentally broken. It just can't provide the level of verification we're going to need in a world that's run by AI.
And the potential long-term payoffs here, they're massive. They're called unseen flywheels. First, you've got cloud arbitrage. Think about it. This could force the big guys like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google to either offer this new hardware verification or risk losing the entire massive EU market. That's huge leverage. Second, post-quantum identity. This creates a way to verify identity that's based on physics, not just code, which means it could still be secure even after quantum computers arrive and break all of today's encryption. And finally, AI model collapse. This could be the only way to solve the problem of AIs getting dumber because they're being trained on their own fake data. You'd have a foolproof way to prove where the training data actually came from.
And that leaves us with this one really profound question. For decades, our entire digital world has been built on these abstract layers of software, code on top of code. But what if real, lasting trust can only be built by grounding our technology in something undeniable, the physical reality of the world? It's a radical thought, for sure, but one that could completely reshape our digital future.